you a puzzle person? If so, that's going to make a great detailer, because as we're looking at how we polish a car, we have to break it up like it's a puzzle. How do the pieces fall together to allow us to be as efficient as possible when we're doing our correction? We have to stop and think about the work size that we're normally working with, and then we combine that with the layout of the body panels or the body lines. And from there, that kind of determines how we're going to approach the panel. So if I'm working on the hood, for instance, first of all, I'm looking at these body lines right here, body line right down the center. As we've talked about it before, the body lines dictate where you're going. You're never going to work an area like this where you're crossing over a body line. Body line is always your dividing point. You know, I usually start up here in the middle, but we're not really talking about the starting point at this point. But if I'm looking at it and I'm looking at my two body lines here, and I'm going to run that all the way down, and how many pieces am I going to put together? Well, if my work area is about this big, I'm probably going to do 1, 2, 3, probably 3 spots in that area right there. And you want to keep aware of where you are and how big your work section is going to be. Because the last thing you want to do, if you started down at the bottom and you come up here and you leave yourself a really small line, that's no good. So as you're working, if you visualize that being in 3 sections, monitor your progress as you're going down. Make sure that you don't end up working too far, because then you will end up with a small section. So if I've got 3 there down the center, this is the next section that I'm looking at. And as you can see, this is a bit wider than here. Because it's wider, I want to go a little bit skinnier area as I'm working it. So once again, I'm going from body line to body line. I'm probably doing 1, 2, 3 sections of this main area. Most of this area up here, I'm going to do with a 3-inch. And I may break up a 4th area with my 5-inch pad here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a separate area with the 3. Now, speaking of 3-inch, anytime you have a panel that you have to use both machines, I like to keep one machine in my hand as long as I possibly can. I don't want to work all the 5, put it down, grab a 3 for here, put it down, and grab a 5 for the next section. I'll save that 3-inch to the last. Now, that leaves me with this area here. I've got from the edge of the hood up to this body line. And I'm going to look at this as probably 3 sections. I got a section here, a section here, and a section here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Basically, I have 11 separate sections I'm going to do on this half of the hood alone. And then I'm going to replicate that on the other side. So as you're approaching an area, you know, first of all, when we're working the car, it's typically going to be top-down surfaces first. Why do we do that? Because, you know, imagine finish polishing. If I already had this finished and I need to reach way over here to get the middle of the hood, I'm leaning up against the area that I finished. But if I do this first and then I work my way down, I'm not leaning up against anything. So it's going to be hood, it's going to be roof, pillars, trunk lid. Then I come to my vertical surfaces as I go around the car. Then within each panel, I need to take a look at how I want to break it up, what kind of puzzle do I need to put together, where my body lines are, because once again, that's going to dictate how the area is. Now, if this was just a big flat hood where I didn't have this convenient body line, I'm just going to kind of visualize this and picture it. I know that I can do a section here and I can do a section here. The body line actually is kind of nice for helping the flow and helping you visualize where you need to work. But if you don't have body lines, you know, same thing. Remember, think about the work area size and then just kind of block it down the whole way. And that's going to help you be a lot more efficient and a lot more organized. Now, let's go over to the sides and look to see how we're going to break up some of the vertical panels. All right, now that we get over here to the side of the car, or the vertical panels, we have some different things to consider than we do up at the top. First of all, we've got a little bit more complexity. And remember, we've talked about the more complex the panel or more complex the shape, the smaller the area that we want to do our polishing work in. Now, you might think that this fender here is not going to take a lot of effort to correct, but actually, when I look at it, I'm breaking this up into 6 or 7 different working sections that we're going to do. First, our main sections up in here, we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3. I'm going to stay with my 5-inch down here for a 4th. And then this area right here is all going to be done with a 3-inch. There's 5. And then, right up in here in our wheel arch, I'm going to do that 1 to 2 spots. You can do that either with a 3-inch here, or you can continue on with your 5-inch and come back with the 3. So you can see you've got that broken up an awful lot. You've got curvature that you're dealing with. You've got small little areas. You got little areas right here. You have a lip up here at the top that you're dealing with. So you have to break it up and you have to keep them in small sections. That way your correction rate and your finish is going to be a lot better. Anytime somebody tries to break this up and make it way too big of an area, you go back and take a look at it and you see that the correction or the finish suffers as a result. Break them up. Now let's go over and take a look at the door. And now we get over here to the door. We've got a lot of things going on with it too, and we need to break it up. Remember, we're always using our body lines here as natural dividing points, and then we work around it from there. So if I'm looking at this section up, I probably have 1, 2, 3 areas. Then I've got a ridge up top here. I do not want to do these at the same time I do this. Once again, that is a body line up there. So I have 1, 2, 3 areas I have to work it. Now when I come down to here, once again, I'm going to use these body lines, and this one kind of tapers off, but I'm just going to visualize it all the way to the end. And I'm probably going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. And now I'm left with kind of this long, skinny area. I can probably break that up into 1, 2 sections there. So if my math is correct, that's about 12 sections for this door alone. And I know to some of you, you think like, wow, we're going to take a lot extra time because we're breaking it up so much. Actually, that's not the case in the least bit, because you're going to spend less time going back and trying to fix stuff you didn't get before, or you're going to be much happier with your rate of correction or finish by breaking them up into smaller areas. Your efficiency is going to be really good. Your correction, your finish is going to be really good. So take all the information from the hood, the fender, and the door and apply that to everywhere else around the car. I think the biggest thing that you're going to take from that is going to be how your correction is much better. And when you start talking about the really complex areas, how much better it looks by breaking them up into small sections, visualizing, putting your puzzle together, but visualizing the whole area before you start working on it. You're going to be really amazed at how much better everything is going to look.